Section 1. The dopamine loop, how pleasure shapes our day. You reach for your phone, a notification pops up. Instantly, a surge of satisfaction washes over you. This, my friend, is dopamine at work. This powerful neurotransmitter, often dubbed the feel-good chemical, plays a much larger role in our lives than we realize. From the mundane choices we make to the complex emotions we experience, dopamine's influence is subtle, yet pervasive. It's the driving force behind our desires, shaping our behaviors, and ultimately, defining our daily experiences. Dopamine operates on a simple principle: reward and repeat. When we encounter something pleasurable, whether it's a delicious meal or a social media notification, our brain releases a surge of dopamine. This surge creates a feeling of pleasure, signaling to our brain that this activity is worth remembering and repeating. Our brain then becomes wired to seek out that same pleasure again in the future. This cycle of anticipation, reward, and repetition is known as the dopamine loop. Think about your morning coffee. The aroma, the taste, the caffeine kick, all trigger a release of dopamine, reinforcing the behavior of making and drinking coffee each morning. This seemingly simple act is actually a complex interplay of brain chemistry and learned behavior, all orchestrated by dopamine. And it's not just coffee. This dopamine loop influences a myriad of our daily decisions and habits, from checking our phones to indulging in a favorite snack. Dopamine's influence extends far beyond these everyday pleasures. It plays a crucial role in motivation, learning, addiction, and even love. Understanding how dopamine works can provide invaluable insights into our own behavior, helping us make healthier choices, break bad habits, and ultimately live more fulfilling lives. Section 2. Decoding desire. Dopamine's role in motivation and cravings. Dopamine is not just about pleasure, it's also about the anticipation of pleasure. It's the driving force behind motivation, pushing us to seek out experiences and rewards that we believe will bring us joy. When we anticipate something pleasurable, our brains release a surge of dopamine, creating a feeling of desire and urging us to take action. Imagine you're craving chocolate. The mere thought of its rich, melt-in-your-mouth goodness triggers a dopamine release, intensifying your desire and motivating you to seek out that chocolate bar. This anticipatory dopamine rush is often more powerful than the pleasure we experience when we actually consume the chocolate. This dopamine-driven desire is essential for survival. It motivates us to seek out food, water, and social connections, all crucial for our well-being. However, this system can be hijacked, leading to unhealthy cravings and addictions. Substances like drugs and alcohol can trigger massive dopamine releases, far exceeding what we experience naturally. This creates a powerful cycle of craving and consumption, making it incredibly difficult to break free from the addiction. Understanding the role of dopamine in motivation and cravings can empower us to make healthier choices. By consciously choosing activities and rewards that align with our values and goals, we can rewire our brains to find pleasure in healthier pursuits. This could mean swapping sugary snacks for healthier alternatives, or finding joy in exercise and meaningful connections instead of relying on instant gratification. Section 3. The Science of Satisfaction. How dopamine rewards us. Dopamine is often referred to as the brain's reward chemical, and for good reason. It's the neurotransmitter responsible for the feeling of satisfaction and pleasure we experience when we achieve a goal or experience something enjoyable. This reward system is essential for learning and survival, encouraging us to repeat behaviors that benefit us. When we engage in an activity that our brain perceives as beneficial, such as eating a nutritious meal or completing a challenging task, dopamine is released, creating a sense of reward and satisfaction. This positive reinforcement strengthens the neural pathways associated with that behavior, making us more likely to repeat it in the future. Think about the feeling of accomplishment you experience after finishing a challenging workout or completing a difficult project. That sense of satisfaction is largely due to a surge of dopamine, signaling to your brain that this behavior was rewarding and worth repeating. This mechanism is crucial for learning new skills, developing healthy habits, and achieving our goals. However, the dopamine reward system can also backfire. Our brains are constantly seeking novelty and greater rewards. This can lead to a phenomenon known as hedonic adaptation, where we become accustomed to a certain level of pleasure and require even greater stimulation to experience the same level of satisfaction. This constant pursuit of bigger and better rewards can lead to a never-ending cycle of desire and dissatisfaction. Section 4. Dopamine and addiction. A complex relationship. The link between dopamine and addiction is undeniable. Drugs of abuse, such as cocaine and heroin, hijack the brain's reward system, flooding it with unnaturally high levels of dopamine. This creates an intense feeling of euphoria, far exceeding what we experience naturally. Over time, the brain becomes accustomed to these artificially high dopamine levels, leading to tolerance and dependence. This means that addicts need to consume increasing amounts of the drug to achieve the same high. When they try to quit, they experience excruciating withdrawal symptoms as their brain struggles to readjust to normal dopamine levels. But addiction is not simply about pleasure. As addiction progresses, it becomes less about chasing the high and more about alleviating the pain of withdrawal. The dopamine system becomes dysregulated, leading to intense cravings and a compulsive need to use the drug, even in the absence of pleasure. While dopamine plays a central role in addiction, it's crucial to remember that it's not the only factor. Genetic predisposition, environmental factors, and psychological vulnerabilities all contribute to the development and maintenance of addiction. Understanding the complex interplay of these factors is essential for developing effective treatment strategies. Dopamine isn't just about pleasure and reward, it's also a key player in learning and memory. It acts as a signal, highlighting important information and experiences that are worth remembering. When something unexpected or surprising happens, our brains release dopamine, signaling to pay attention and encode this information into memory. Think about a time you learned something new that surprised you. Maybe it was a fascinating fact or a new skill you acquired. That aha moment, that feeling of sudden understanding, was accompanied by a surge of dopamine, solidifying that information in your brain. This dopamine-driven learning mechanism is essential for our survival. It allows us to adapt to new environments, learn from our mistakes, and make better decisions in the future. When we encounter a rewarding experience, dopamine strengthens the connections between neurons that were active during that experience, making it easier to recall that information later on. Conversely, when we experience something unpleasant, dopamine levels decrease, signaling to avoid that situation or behavior in the future. This negative reinforcement helps us learn from our mistakes and make safer choices. The delicate balance of dopamine release and suppression is crucial for shaping our memories and guiding our future actions. The relationship between dopamine and our emotions is profound. Often viewed as the feel-good neurotransmitter, dopamine plays a pivotal role in how we experience pleasure and pain. It's deeply intertwined with our emotional responses, influencing how we feel joy, excitement, and satisfaction. This neurotransmitter doesn't just affect us physically, it shapes our emotional landscape. When dopamine levels are high, we tend to feel more positive, enthusiastic, and motivated. On the flip side, low dopamine can lead to feelings of sadness, lethargy, and a lack of interest in activities once enjoyed. Understanding this connection helps us appreciate how our bodies and minds interact to create our emotional experiences. One of the most critical roles of dopamine in the human brain is its involvement in decision-making, particularly in assessing risks and rewards. This neurotransmitter helps us evaluate whether the potential rewards of a decision are worth the risks involved. When faced with a choice, dopamine levels fluctuate, influencing our judgment and pushing us towards actions that might offer the highest reward. This mechanism is not just about seeking pleasure, but about survival. By calculating risks and rewards, dopamine aids in making decisions that align with our best interests and safety. This balance is vital for navigating through life's many challenges and opportunities. Dopamine plays a crucial role in our social behaviors. It influences how we interact with others, our emotional responses, and even our ability to form bonds. When dopamine levels are balanced, it contributes to healthy social interactions. However, imbalances can lead to social anxiety or overly aggressive behaviors. Imbalances in dopamine can lead to various disorders. Conditions like depression, schizophrenia, and Parkinson's disease are linked to dopamine dysfunction. Understanding these connections helps in developing treatments that can improve countless lives. By understanding how dopamine affects our brain and behaviors, we can potentially harness this knowledge to enhance our well-being. Techniques like mindfulness, exercise, and proper nutrition can help manage dopamine levels, leading to improved mental health and a better quality of life. The study of dopamine is not just about understanding a neurotransmitter, it's about unlocking the potential to treat diseases, enhance well-being, and even improve societal health. With continued research,